ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We'll chant the Bhaja Govindam.
भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सम्प्राप्ते सन्निहिते काले नहि रक्षति ढुकृन्करणे मूढजहि धनागमतृष्णां कुरु सद्बुद्धिं मनसि वितृष्णाम् यल्लभसे निजकर्मोपात्तं वित्तं तेन विनोदय चित्तम् नारीस्तनभरनाभिदेशं दृष्ट्वा मागा मोहावेशम् एतन्मांसवसादिविकारं मनसि विचिन्तय वारं वारम् नलिनीदलगतजलमतितरलं तद्वज्जीवितमतिशयचपलम् विद्धि व्याध्यभिमानग्रस्तं लोकं शोकहतं च समस्तम् यावद्वित्तोपार्जनसक्तः तावन्निजपरिवारो रक्तः पश्चाज्जीवति जर्जरदेहे वार्तां कोऽपि न पृच्छति गेहे।
We'll take up the clarifications and then we'll move on to the text.
Last class you were taking verse 3 and you said that one should have dharmic pursuit of Kanchana and Kamini, not indiscriminate pursuit. And then you said this pursuit is because of deep-rooted notion of dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Because we have no clarity on non-essential and essential aspect of Kanchana and Kamini, therefore this notion. My question is there a difference between dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti and peace, security, happiness, independence and freedom, or are they any different?
The clarification is, we talk about two things. One is dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. In some other context, we talk about peace, security, happiness, independence, knowledge, freedom, etc. The question is, are they the same or are they different? They are one and the same. It's more elaborated, that's all. Both are one and the same. The basic instinct of a human being is what? The basic instinct of a human being is self-preservation. Self-preservation is very core of all human beings. Self-preservation means at any cost you want to preserve yourself. Second factor is self-preservation of the race. You want to preserve yourself and you want to preserve your, like plants will want to keep their race alive. Animals will want to keep their, human beings also try to keep it alive. Now, this being very instinctive, what happens? All species try to do it in their own way. Human beings also try to do it in their own way. Individual human beings also try to do it in their own way. So every individual human being tries this preservation, self-preservation. And why do I need to have this self-preservation? Self-preservation is very important because we have these two problems. What is the two problems? To escape pain and to be happy, which is called as dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. To escape pain. At at any point of time, I don't want pain. Always I want happiness. So in order to avoid pain, what do you do? What does a human being do? This is where acquisition comes in. Not having it makes you feel insecure. More and more and more you have it, you assume you are going to be secure. So freedom from this insecurity and fear is achieved through acquisition called kanchana. That is kanchana. All anxieties and sense of insecurity that makes a human being run after wealth. Why? Because wealth is seen as a protection, safety. If it is there, I am safe. If I have this, I am safe. Insurance fellow will come and tell you what is your medical insurance amount. You will say, I have. That fellow, he will say, you have 10 lakhs medical insurance. And that fellow will say, what is the use of 10 lakhs? What can you do with 10 lakhs now? Even one injection will cost you this much. Your room will cost you this much. So 10 lakhs is nothing. Therefore, what you have to do now? So more you have, more there is a sense of security. When there is a relative security, the mind starts looking for indulgences, happiness. So that is called sukha prapti. First is protect yourself. Safeguard yourself. Having protected, safeguarded yourself, then you can go into indulgences, which is called kamini. So kanchana and kamini is nothing but the dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. And what is dukkha nivritti? Money and wealth, etc., takes care of the uncertainties of life. When with wealth and etc., if it takes care of the uncertainties of life, there is a sense of security. In that sense of security, you can go on sukham. You can positively start courting happiness, isn't it? A person whose everyday survival itself is a problem cannot think of a holiday, isn't it? There is no new year, there is no summer, there is no winter, there is no nothing for that person. Everyday survival itself is a problem. The moment everyday survival is taken care of little bit, what does the person say? At least once a week, we all will go as a family to a movie. So that movie becomes one big entertainment. Sukham. Are you able to follow? Sukham, it comes. Once more security comes, more you will court for happiness. Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Instead of giving this elaborate discourse on dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti, we try to make it simple. Peace, security, happiness, etc. Are you able to follow? So peace, security, happiness, etc. is nothing but the dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti elaborated from a different time. But both are one and the same. They are not different. Here, generally we talk about peace, security, happiness. In Bhaja Govindam, he is talking about it as kanchana and kamini. But both are one and the same. Both are not different. How do you say both are not different? What you don't want, you ask anybody, what do they don't want? You ask anybody, what is it that you don't want? First thing that you don't want is pain. Second thing that you don't want is loss. You don't want to lose anything. One is you don't want pain. Second is you don't want to lose anything. The third thing that you don't want is death. These are all the things that you don't want. Okay, what is it? What is it that you want? Opposite of it. Peace. Freedom from pain. I don't want to be in pain. Since I don't want to be in pain, the mind, because of misunderstanding, it thinks pleasure is freedom from pain. Carefully follow. I'm just taking this as an example. Because of misunderstanding, the mind believes pleasure is freedom from pain. What we don't understand is pleasure is not freedom from pain. Pleasure is nothing but a preparation for another round of severe pain. Again, you get into pleasure, you think pleasure means you are happy. That happiness is nothing but a preparation for another round of more pain. When you get into that more pain, you will actually want, so you will prepare yourself for more happiness. Are you able to follow? So pain, freedom from pain, you think pleasure. And whatsoever you do to be in pleasure itself creates pain. And when you come into pain, you will make more effort to be in pleasure. This cycle of dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti, dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti goes on happening in a human being's life. Bhaja Govindam is the theme that is talking about. This is moha. This is moha, delusion. Are you able to follow? This is moha. What is moha? This constant effort of dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti is moha. Moha mudgara. So he's trying to hammer it. Therefore, both are one and the same. Okay?
No. In some classes, you say that we are seeking for permanent peace, security, happiness. So is that permanent peace, security, happiness and moksha same?
Peace, security, happiness, freedom, always we want permanent only. The moment you ask for anything permanent, you are asking for moksha, because only moksha can be permanent. So anytime you ask for anything permanent, you are asking for moksha. That is why we say, if you remember in so many classes, we say that once a week you will be happy and peaceful. Will you be okay with it? Sunday, you will be happy and peaceful. Rest of the week, you will be, no, you can't. Okay. Half a day, you will be peaceful. Is it okay? No. 1 hour a day, you will be peaceful and happy. Okay? No. That, that what we want is that permanency of it. Permanency of it in the sense, no factor can take it away. Permanency means two things. It should not diminish. Nothing can take it away. That is called permanence. Again, Narayana, are you able to follow? Permanency means nothing can take it away. Nothing should have the power to take it away. Second is, by itself, it should not diminish. Then only it is called permanent. Moha is what? What is moha now? You will be able to understand what is moha now. What is moha now? Assuming that you can get this from the world is moha. Assuming that you can get this from the world is moha. Why? Because the very nature of it is what? Agama payinaha anityaha. Remember Bhagavad Gita. Beautiful verse. Verse number 14, chapter 2. Agama payino nityaha tam titikshasva bharata. When you are happy, don't get carried away by the happiness. When you are in pain, don't get carried away by the pain. Practice titiksha for both. When you are in happiness, also practice titiksha. Vijayarangan. Yeah. You think titiksha means only in pain? No. More titiksha is required in pleasure also. Because not to get carried away by the not to get carried away by the pleasure. Since you are seeking this, and the world can never ever provide that. Assuming the world can give it is moha. Assuming that the world can give it is moha. So what does the human being say? Okay, all that I'll see later. First, let me get some security. First, let me get some peace. First, let me take care of myself first. How will I take care of myself first? The very, see, we can't even say animalistic because animals also don't do that. I don't know what word to use. Okay, the very foolish human way is what? Hoarding, acquisition and hoarding. The very first attempt of human being to acquire this freedom from this insecurity is what? Acquire and what you have acquired? Hoard. And also what you have acquired should be what? Nobody should be able to take it away, and no, what do they call it as? Inflation, isn't it? No inflation should ever happen to your wealth, and nobody will be able to take it away from you. Hmm? Okay, how much ever you think you are safeguarding it, Yama comes and says, I have the power to take you away from everything. They will remain, but you will be gone. That is more painful, isn't it? That is where, because of the self-preservation of the race, we believe, okay, at least if I have given it to the children, I'm okay, sir. Are you able to follow? One is self-preservation, another is self-preservation of the race. So what do you think? At least if I leave it to my children, they are safe. So what do we do? So the first foolish attempt of human being is to go on acquiring, and this acquisition is seen as a security against the insecurity. This acquisition is seen as the security against insecurity. Having gotten some basic security, immediately the mind will start moving into what? From Kanchana, it will start moving into Kamini. What is Kamini now? Now that I have done everything, I will enjoy what I have. I will enjoy what I have. By the time you will enjoy what you have, you cannot enjoy only, isn't it? That's where Swamiji goes on saying, no, the whole world goes on acquiring. Two fellows will come and take away everything. Two fellows will take away. You are busy acquiring, two fellows will take. Who are the two fellows? Shailesh. Who are the two? Tell that to Bhavna. Who are the two? One is the son-in-law, Bhavna. The son-in-law will come and take away everything. Whatever the son-in-law leaves behind, some Swamiji will come and take away the rest. He says two people take away everything. That is calm. That is where that will meaning except you, everybody else will be able to enjoy. That's what it means. What it means is you will not be able to enjoy. Other than you, everybody will enjoy. And your only satisfaction is what? looking at your children enjoying. That's all your only satisfaction. Your children, your grandchildren enjoying. Why? Because instinct. What is the instinct? Self-preservation and preservation of the race. Why the preservation of the race is also self-preservation only? Why? Because through them you are still continuing. So ultimately it boils down to what? Ultimately it boils down to self-preservation only. Me. I continue to live through my children. I will continue to live through my grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Grandchildren, great-grandchildren, Vartukulla, if Yama takes you away, you are lucky, isn't it? If not, great-great-grandchildren, where do you stop? Where will follow? Kanchana and Amin. Pratipaksha Bhavana is very much important to Pratipaksha Bhavana is necessary to understand it rightly. Pratipaksha Bhavana is very much important. And what does Pratipaksha Bhavana means? Pratipaksha Bhavana means this. Don't go by your imagined picture of happiness, see the reality. That is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Again, I repeat, what is Pratipaksha Bhavana? Your mind has an imaginary picture of happiness. Your mind has its own hallucinations of happiness. Pratipaksha Bhavana is to move away from your hallucinations and see it rightly. Okay, what is the Pratipaksha Bhavana technique? Verse number 3, we are continuing now. Verse number 3. Narisanabharanabhidesham drishtva maha amogavesham etan mam savasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. Varam varam, again and again. What you should reflect? Your mind has its own imagination of happiness about objects and beings. Again, your mind has its own, the mind builds its own stories. The mind builds its own imaginations. The mind builds its own fantasies of happiness about objects and beings. Pratipaksha Bhavana means what? To drop your fantasies and imaginations and look at it rightly. Again, to drop your fantasies and hopes and imaginations and look at it rightly is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. This is called re-educating your mind. Re-educating your mind. Not to run away with its imagined picture of happiness. What is the imagined picture of happiness? An example is given. What is the example here? Looking at the flesh, don't get carried away by looking at the flesh. Don't get carried away by the flesh. Again, we discussed it also that it is not only the woman is made up of flesh and bones and fat. Man is also made up of, man's body is not made up of rubies and diamonds. No. Man's body is also made up of the same thing. And if you look at a skull, you will never know whether it is a male skull or a female skull. All are one and the same. Because these verses talk like this, there is a misunderstanding. What is misunderstanding? The scriptures here demean women. The scriptures here talk bad about women. Any example you give, you can criticize that example. This is called kutarka. Again, I repeat. Any example you give, you can criticize that example, which is called kutarka. Some example has to be given. No. Why some example has to be given? Because of the three ways of learning, pratyaksha, anumana, upamana. Upamana is one essential way of learning. So you have to give some example. And when you give an example, something in that example can be always found a fallacy. So in Vedanta, we don't take that route. That's why we say both are made up of flesh and bones only. The human being falls for the irresistible enchantment of the flesh. That's all. What is attempted here? The the irresistible enchantment. What is that irresistible enchantment? Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita, he says the sight of it is enough, he says. Just the sight of it carries you away completely. Now, how to prevent it? Pratipaksha bhavana. How to prevent it? Pratipaksha bhavana is very, very important. Naristanabharanabhi desham drishtva maha moha vesham. That line we studied in detail last week. We are not going into that again. Second line we are studying. What is the second line? Etan mamsava. Etani. All this is made up of what? All this is made up of mamsa. Mamsa means flesh. Mamsa means flesh. What it does, remember we spoke about it last week. Avesham. It creates, it makes you go into that avesham. What is the nature of body? This is Pratipaksha Bhavana. Wherever you fantasize happiness, carefully follow this. This is one of the important initial spiritual practices. If you want to grow spiritually, this is one of the important practices that you have to do. Varam, again and again. Varam na weekly கிடையாது. Yeah. It's not weekly. Again and again you have to do. Again and again you have to do. What is it that you have to do? Wherever you fantasize happiness, wherever you believe there is a hope of happiness, bring in this Pratipaksha Bhavana. What is the Pratipaksha Bhavana? Anything that is capable of disintegrating, aging, perishing, decomposing, changing, don't rely on that. This is Pratipaksha Bhavana. You rely on anything because you think it is going to be permanent. Again, you rely on something because you believe it's going to be permanent. Elsewhere, he gives an example of, in those days, we talk about the waiting room in the railway station. Nowadays, we can talk about airport lounge, isn't it? You go and sit in the airport lounge, you go and sit in the waiting room railway station, you know one thing, very clear. What? One thing is very clear there. What? It's temporary. Imagine you go there, open your suitcase and start living there. You go there, you open your suitcase, you start hanging clothes, you start living there. What happens? That is moha, delusion. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is Pratipaksha Bhavana? Pratipaksha Bhavana is the capacity to see how each and everything is disintegrating, aging, perishing, decomposing, changing. If you are able to see this in each and everything, your fantasies of happiness on that reduces. Your imaginary happiness about that, the picture of happiness that you have, the hope of happiness that you have, the hallucinations of happiness that you have about anything and everything reduces. But sir, if I go on reducing like this, won't I be pessimistic? Won't I be very depressed in life? Narayana, correct? Huh? You are in depression now because of the fantasies. How can getting out of fantasy cause depression? Are you able to follow the understanding? See, depression is because you are in fantasy and you aren't able to get out of the fantasy is the cause for depression. We are saying get out of the fantasy. It means you are out of the cause of depression itself. It means what? More and more you understand this, to that extent you will be, in Shanti. Shanti. It is not just Shanti, it is Prashanti. Prashantam Adhigacchati. It's not just ordinary Shanti. So there is there is a word, there is a prefix they add, Prashanti. You have heard two names, no? Shanti itself means, and what is Prashant? What is Prashanti then? There is a quality of difference. There is a qualitative difference. What is the quality here? See, this Pratipaksha Bhavana, doing this Pratipaksha Bhavana again and again and again will educate you about the realities of life. The moment you understand the reality of life, the fact of life, there is a calmness, there is a peace, there is a calmness. And that calmness and peace cannot be taken away by anything, relatively speaking. So Shanti means that can be disturbed easily. Shanti means that you will not lose it very easily, relatively speaking. In the absolute sense, you get it. That is liberation. Are you able to follow? So what does Pratipaksha Bhavana means? Wherever you are fantasizing security, wherever you are fantasizing security, wherever you are fantasizing happiness, remember this. What is it? Seeing it from another angle. Seeing it from another angle means the angle that your fantasies is not allowing you to see it from that angle. Again, your hallucinations and your hopes and expectations and fantasies is not allowing your mind to see it from that angle. Now, what is it that you have to do? You have to see it from that angle only. What is that angle called? Pratipaksha Bhava. Paksha means side. Paksha means side, part. Paksha means side, part. Pratipaksha means see it from all sides. See it from all angles. What is seeing it from all angles? Etan mamsavasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. Varam varam, repeat. Again and again think in your head. What is it that you should think in your head? Do I want to be still carrying on in my hallucinations and depressions, or get out of it and become divine? Ask yourself this question. Every time you look at the mirror, ask yourself this question. You don't have to look at the mirror and all. In your head also, you can ask this question. What? Do I want to be a person hallucinating, hoping, imagining for happiness and getting into depression, or understanding the realities and becoming divine? This is called Varam Varam. Manasi Vichintaya Varam Varam. Varam Varam Manasi Vichintaya. It means what? Repeatedly do this, repeatedly bring this. Repeatedly bring this. Any pleasure derived from the gross has to be ephemeral, temporary. Please understand, it's not ephemeral and temporary alone. The pain that it leaves behind is more. Again, the pain that it leaves behind, the few seconds of happiness, the few minutes of happiness, and the pain that it leaves behind. That's why I started by saying all pleasures is nothing but a preparation for all pleasures is nothing but a preparation for pain. So I'm very happy now, sir. I'm very happy now, sir. Oh my God, tomorrow what's going to happen? Because this happiness is a preparation for why? Because what you call as pleasure and happiness is so dependent on some object and being. Something is happening in your way, isn't it? Some object that you want, you got. Some person that you want, you got. And things are happening in your way. Things are going in your way. When things are going in your way and when you get what you want, there is a happiness. What is happiness? Now my life is sorted. My life is settled, isn't it? The last week it happened. I was in the academy for 2 weeks. Last week it happened. Somebody came and asked Swamiji, how are you? Huh? I said, don't go and ask that question only, isn't it? He turned back and said, look at you. Why are you asking, how are you? That fellow, he's asking, how are you? He turns back and said, look at you. Nothing is all right with you and everything is all right with me. You are coming and asking. God, we couldn't control her. We couldn't control our laughter. See, nothing is all right. And why that person is feeling all right? Because one or two things is going in their way. And it is so ephemeral, it is so temporary, but you don't see it. Why? Because you get so involved in it and you think this is how your life is going to be forever. Happiness, 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 pleasure, 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 peace, 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 peace. That's how your life is going to be. Srikanth. Aprama kottu barotta da, isn't it? Isn't it? And then split into pieces, isn't it? You follow? Why even do this? Why will a person even need to do this? Is verse number 3. Etan mamsavasadi vikaram manasi vichintaya varam varam. Manasi vichintaya varam varam means wherever you get it, understand it. The moment you understand this, what happens? Another Upanishad says, the moment you gain this knowledge and understanding and grow spiritually, what happens? All these desires becomes irrelevant like moonlight in daylight. What is the relevance of moonlight in daylight? Does it have any relevance? It has absolutely no relevance because the daylight has overpowered completely the moonlight. Manasi vichintaya varam varam. Understand it. Understand it. Understand it. Never get into this delusion. Never get into this delusion. Another Pratipaksha Bhavana. Thank God every day you wake up in the morning and thank God for He created everything temporary. Thank God that He created everything temporary. Imagine it is permanent, what will happen? See, Okay, imagine that if God decided that we all will die only once in 500 years, what will happen? What will happen? Oh God, you can't. It is better to be dead in the womb itself than to live for 500 years, isn't it? Are you able to follow? So what is Pratipaksha Bhavana now? Wake up and say, thank you for all or everything in creation is temporary. Learn to say thanks for the temporariness. Pratipaksha Bhavana, this is. Are you able to follow? Thank you for what? Thank God that everything is temporary. What is temporary? See, the person loving you today will not love you tomorrow. That's all. You get into depression, you get into worry, you get into suicide, you get into this, you get into why? Because you are not willing to accept the reality. What is the reality? The person loving you today need not love you tomorrow. And when the person stops loving you tomorrow, what you should say? What you should say? Never சொல்லணும் விஜய் thank you சொல்லணும் இல்லையா? I got betrayed, I got cheated. How can that person do this to me? இந்த சினிமா டயலாக்லாம் சொல்லக்கூடாது இல்லையா? Why? Because you understand it very well. What do you understand it very well? What do you understand? This is what you understand. What it is? It is temporary. And the beauty is because it is temporary. The beauty in it is only because it is temporary, it is beautiful, isn't it? The sunrise or sunset is so beautiful because it's there only for a few seconds. By the time you call everybody and say, see, it's gone. Isn't it? By the time you call everybody and say it's gone. Another thing is you can take a photograph, you can take a photograph and keep it. Nobody will look at that photograph, isn't it? You can take a photograph and keep, but who looks at that photograph, isn't it? Pratipaksha Bhavana, isn't it? Another example of Pratipaksha Bhavana. Whenever you get bored, Narayana, whenever you get bored, whenever you feel like you have some time, see your own marriage video. Will you ever have the courage to do that? Will you ever have the courage to look at your own wedding album? Previously, I used to do that. Nobody in my family used to understand, why am I watching that? Isn't it? Say, no, I'm watching this person has come. See how joyfully they have come. You should, why can't you do that? Pratipaksha Bhavana. Are you able to follow? Each and everything in life is temporary. And there is only one thing that is permanent. That is the self, the divine. In this text, it's called Govinda. The permanent, the self, the divine is given a name in this text called as Govinda. Therefore, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati Dukran Karne. Therefore, what is the summarizing this Pratipaksha Bhavana? It's very simple. What is it? Attraction to the opposite is futile. Attraction to the opposite is futile. Pratipaksha Bhavana. It is not only in the body of the women. Actually, there is nothing in any body. There is nothing in any body. But the few microns of skin makes it so delusory. You don't even have the penetrating capacity that can go through the few microns. If you can't even penetrate through these few microns, what can you penetrate about Maya, Mithya, and self-realization and all? Are you able to follow? If you can't even penetrate through these few microns and understand that there is nothing in this body that I'm so infatuated about, that I'm so carried away by it, if I don't even have this penetrating vision, how can I have the penetrating vision about Maya, Mithya, Brahma, self-realization and all that? All this become a big talk. Shankara says, no. These kind of talk maybe in a Saturday class, Sunday class, they will agree. With me, it doesn't work like that. With me, it's very clear. Moha Mudgaraha. Moha Mudgara means it will be hammered again and again and again. So, summary. What is the summary? It is the attraction of the opposite that is futile. All the temptations of happiness end up in misery. All hopes of happiness ends up in misery. All hopes of happiness ends up in misery. And you always remain empty-handed. Example, we gave example last week. What is the example? Plan of getting oil from the plan of getting oil from the sand. It doesn't work like that. Naranji, you have something? Unmute him. If anybody has a question, put that symbol, then I can see. If you raise the hands, I'm not able to. Yeah.
Sir, you are grossifying and criminalizing Kamini to the hilt. But we also understand that take a middle path without compromising Nitya Naimitika Karma. So, and then we also understand that we are born because of the Vasana.
Yes.
And this Vasana has to be exhausted.
Yes.
And this Prarabdha will go till our life ends.
Correct.
And the sadhana which we are on, it will slowly help us get out of Vasana one by one.
Correct.
But some powerful Vasana may end to the life.
Yes.
So how to reconcile this two conflicting things and how does Paripaksha Bhavana fit into it?
Yeah.
We are torn between these two things.
Yes. The question is this. The question is middle path versus Pratipaksha Bhavana. Middle path versus Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana is the first primary step to come back to middle path. Unless the mind is moved to one extreme. If I have to come to the middle path, I have to take it to the other extreme. So Pratipaksha Bhavana becomes a technique to come to the middle path itself. Why? Because now it is in one extreme direction. When it is gone in one extreme direction, I have to bring it to the middle point. If I have to bring it to the middle, I have to pull it to the other extreme. Now your mind is pulling you to one extreme. Shastra is pulling you to the other extreme. Again, it's like this. Your mind is pulling you to one extreme. The Shastra is pulling you to the other extreme. Somewhere in between, you will hit the middle path. Somewhere in between, you will hit the middle path. You follow what I'm saying? Therefore, Pratipaksha Bhavana itself is a technique for middle path. Technique for middle path. To make it more elaborative, the desire itself, the Shastra defines desire as two. Kama itself is defined in two basic categories to further elaborate it, so that you can understand middle path and Pratipaksha Bhavana. The two ways in which the Shastras define desire itself is, one is called Swabhavika, another is Agantuka. Agantuka means that which differs from individual to individual. Swabhavika means that which is natural. Again, Swabhavika means that which is universal, natural, instinctive. Another is acquired. So one is called intrinsic, another is called acquired. Acquired means depends on time, place, personality. What is it? Food, music, art, coffee, tea, vegan, non-vegan, vegetarian, non-vegetarian, isn't it? In the vegetarian, there are various subdivisions. In the non-vegetarian, there are various subdivisions. All this is not universal, varies from time to time. Are you able to okay what is acquired means? Also, it will be taken up at some point of time, it will be dropped at another point of time. Narayanji. So veganism is one way of thinking. So just to irritate, I will say so many things about anti-veganism. So quite a few will say, oh, sir, oh my God. I say, see, where will you get your calcium from? Where will you get this from? Where will you get that from? No, sir, but there are others, because there are other sources you get. Where do you get it from? That is also full of chemicals now. No, so at the end of it, the person is very confused. What? What should I? Are you able to follow? See, this is acquired. That which can be taken in time and dropped in time is called acquired desire. Distinct and different from that is intrinsic. Health, security, dukkha nivritti, sukha prapti and all is intrinsic. So, what is it that we have to understand now? Are you able to follow now? Are you able to understand these two distinctions? One is swabhavika, another is agantuka. Agantuka means acquired. Acquired means you take it at some point of time, you drop it at another point of time. You will be you can be a non-vegetarian at one point of time and become a vegetarian at another point of time. All this can be taken, dropped, taken, dropped, taken, dropped. Distinct and different from that is intrinsic. What does intrinsic means? Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti is intrinsic. Can you follow? Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti is intrinsic. Now, what is middle path? When it comes to the acquired, understanding the limitations of the acquired, and when it comes to the intrinsic, now of the two desires, acquired versus intrinsic, middle path is not in relation to the acquired because it depends on time, place, personality. All this keeps moving, changing, etc. Now, middle path doesn't apply to the acquired things. Middle path is acquired. Middle path should be understood in relation to the intrinsic. What is the intrinsic? Dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti. Okay. What is another way of looking at dukkha nivritti and sukha prapti? Health, security, comfort, peace, happiness. These are all intrinsic. Now, what is viveka now? What is right knowledge now? Instead of worrying about the acquired, what is it I do? What is it that I should not do for the swabhavika, for your intrinsic? That is viveka. For which a lifestyle is required. What is the lifestyle? The lifestyle of frugality and tapas. So middle path becomes a lifestyle. So what is middle path now? Middle path is nothing but a lifestyle of frugality and tapas. That is why the lifestyle of tapas, the lifestyle of sadhana will be always in relation to your intrinsic desires. Again, the lifestyle that we always have will be connected to the intrinsic desires. What is the intrinsic desire? To sleep. To sleep is so intrinsically natural, isn't it? Therefore, they say, don't sleep. Vaikuntha Ekadasi, don't sleep. At least Ekadasi, don't sleep. At least on Vaikuntha Ekadasi, don't sleep. So, middle path is not to fall a victim to the Swabhavika desire itself. Intrinsic itself, you have a control. Discipline. Are you able to follow? If you are able to have a control on the intrinsic, acquired will stop bothering you at all. Now, what people do is they want to follow the middle path. They will try to follow in the acquired thing. They will try to follow middle path. It doesn't work at all because you will drop one, but you will pick up another. So, what is the lifestyle of middle path, sadhana, tapas? Go into the swabhavika things and follow that. That's why we have this. So it becomes a lifestyle. What is a lifestyle? The calendar. Your indulgences are allowed. Your abstinence is also allowed by the calendar. Isn't it?
Awesome.
Yes. You don't do it whenever you feel like doing. You don't say, today I feel like fasting, I will fast. You don't say, today I feel like having a party, you go for it. No. Monday, I will fast. When you say you are going to fast on Monday, from Sunday, you will start thinking about food. From Sunday, you will start making plans for avoiding the Monday fast, isn't it? But sir, why can't I do it whenever I feel like? You are acting on your impulses, likes and dislikes. You follow? So, what is the middle path? Middle path is following a calendar, following a schedule, following a discipline. In relation to what? In relation to the intrinsic. In relation to the intrinsic. You feel like talking. They said practice maunam, isn't it? Nowadays I will not say talking. I will say switch off the mobile, not silent mode. Not silent mode. Switch it off for a few hours. Hands and legs are shivering, isn't it? Hands are shivering, leg is shivering, everything is shivering. Even if there is nothing, I want to go and check. You're able to follow? You get so addictive to taking in and giving out. You get so addicted to constantly take in, and you also constantly want to keep giving out. Are you able to follow? This is for Bhavika. Practice, control that. This is middle path. Are you okay, Narayanji?
All right,
This is
sir.
this is how you can practice middle path as in this. So what do they do here? They take it to the other extreme. Literally, as it were, they take it to the other extreme. Like, see, about the wealth and all is going to take it to the other extreme later. Pratipaksha Bhavana is going to bring it to the wealth later, to an extent where he is going to say, everybody is around you only for your wealth. To that extent, he takes it. Nobody around you is good. Everybody around you, to that extent, he takes it. Why does he have to take it to that extent? Because when the mind is pulled to one extreme, you have to take it to the other extreme. Then only somewhere down the line, you will hit the right way of dealing with it. Like the sine wave. In that sine wave, you strike
Median.
You strike the median. And that median is the middle path. So the mind pulls you in one direction, Shastra pulls you in in another direction. Is it okay?
All right.
Narayana.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Wait. Narayana.
Sir, now we discussed it now. So if we drill down each point,
Yes.
I'm not talking about sex,
Yes.
anything, if it's house or any
Yes.
worldly material,
Yes. Yes.
if you drill down, nothing will be there. It's like sand of a form of sand or something, ash and all.
Yes. Yes.
So if I start thinking that way, what's the motivation for me to do anything?
The motivation to do anything should come from dharma and gratitude. The motivation to do things should always come from gratitude. Again, I repeat. The question of Narayana is, everything is analyzed like this. Everything looks so meaningless. Where will I get the motivation to do anything? Motivation to do anything and everything should come from gratitude. The Nitya Naimittika karma, the motivation to do the Nitya Naimittika karma should come from, should always come from gratitude. Gratitude should be the only motivating factor to do anything. Remember that, Narayana. Anything other than gratitude is delusory, pulling you down. So where is the motivation? Gratitude is the motivation. To explain this gratitude, that is why traditionally it always says you are indebted at birth itself. You are indebted at birth. Since you are indebted at birth, from birth itself you are so indebted, what is it that you have to do? Say thank you. Please understand. Thank you is not thank you verbally. When the thankfulness come into action of service and sacrifice. Remember, thank you means the inner attitude is of thank you. The expression of it is service and sacrifice. It is not I say thank you and move away. If you are really thankful, the thankfulness will express itself as
Service and sacrifice.
Exactly. Therefore, gratitude, which will manifest as service and sacrifice, is the motivating factor. Should be the motivating factor. Not acquisition. Not thinking that it's going to give you security. Not thinking that. So you have to be grateful. Are you able to follow?
Yes. One more.
Previously they say, when they scold, when the elders scold the little one, they say, Kadangara, they say. Who has heard that scolding? Who has received that kind of scolding? Who has received? Everybody has received. What does it mean? You are indebted from birth. Remember that. You are behaving like this because you are not remembering that. Are you able to follow? It's not an insult. It's not an insult. You are scolded like that because your behavior now is so detrimental to you because you don't remember that. If you have remembered that, your behavior, your lifestyle, your everything will be so qualitatively different. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is it that you have to really understand? Where should motivation come from? Motivation should always come from gratitude. And in order to feel grateful, you have to say thank you. Thank you. Receive, blessings. Isn't it? Thank you. Thank you. Isn't it? The whole city is flooded. People are getting washed away. But you are sitting in a house with electricity and food and need not worry about anything. What a blessing it is. Isn't it? Now, what you should think immediately? What you should think immediately? Thankful to that and wanting to serve. Are you able to follow? So, motivation should come from gratitude, and gratitude means saying thank you. And what is the test of thank you? Action is the test. The act of service and sacrifice is the test. You can't say thank you and leave. Then it is a formality. You are just mechanically saying. And today, thank you is so mechanical. That's why in this Indian culture, we will never say thank you. We'll always show it in action as service and sacrifice. We always have the word gratitude. We never have the word thanks. There are two words. One is thanking, another is gratitude. Okay. What is the word for gratitude in Tamil language? Tamil gratitude, they say. Okay, Telugu, Narayana. You are Telugu, no?
Kృతజ్ఞత.
Kritagnyata. Kritagnyata is a Sanskrit word. I'm asking Telugu word.
తెలుగు also same.
Yeah, same thing. Kritagnyata means you have already received. You have the knowledge of means knowledge. Kri means receive. So Kritagnyata means the knowledge of what you have received. The knowledge and understanding of what you have received, what you are constantly receiving. When you have the knowledge and understanding of what you have received and what you are receiving, what will you do? Enough motivation to keep acting till the last breath of your life. Are you able to follow? You don't need any other motivating factor other than this. This is enough. Is it okay?
One more question.
Yes.
In Kanchana class, we discussed about need and greed.
Yes.
And everything what I need is greed. Everything what I excess is need.
Yes.
How do I differentiate when as a grihastha?
Yes.
How do I differentiate a need and a greed?
Yeah.
With the
As a grihastha, how do I differentiate between need and greed? In Vedanta, we don't distinguish between need and greed. There is only greed. In Vedanta, there is no distinction between need and greed. There is only one thing called greed. Others' need will look like greed to you. Your greed will look like need to you, is what I said.
yes, yes.
I will never distinguish between need and greed. That is not Vedanta. Your greed will look like needs to you. The other person need will look like greed to you. Correct? See the lady on the roadside selling a bunch of greens. Bunch of greens. 10 rupees. She charges 15 rupees. That 5 rupees looks like greed, no? That 5 rupees in your eyes looks like, oh my God, how they are so greedy, isn't it? So the others' needs always looks like greed, and your greed looks like needs. That's the distinction I made.
Yeah.
Generally, people talk about these two things, need and greed. I work for my need. I don't work for my greed. I can satisfy the needs of the others, but I can't cater to the greed of the others. Wow, very good movie dialogue, very good quote. You can write and keep it. But nothing will change. Why? Because there is no distinction at all between the two. Then how do you distinguish between the two? For you, it is always frugal. For others, it is dana. You earn for what? In relation to you, it is frugal. In relation to others, it's giving. So you earn for what? You earn to give. Why? Because two important aspects of the society is dependent on you. So you have to earn for that. Who are the two? Because since you brought in the Grihastha Ashrama, the obligation of the Grihastha Ashrama is to take care of the Brahmachari and the Sannyasa. It means you have an obligation already to that too. So you earn for that. You acquire for what? Narayana.
Brahmachari and yes.
Sannyasi. Yeah. So you earn, I enjoy. That's all it is. Correct. You earn, I spend. I don't know, something.
No,
Huh?
no, my question is, sir, now, for example, if I have a company
Yes.
and I have
Do
potential
you have a
growth.
company?
No.
Good, very good. Very good.
I am doing some business. I am
Yeah.
making some, and I see an opportunity in other sector, other
Yes.
area.
Yes.
If I make make a business out of that sector, is
Yes.
it become greed or it's a greed? How do should I look it as a greed or should I look it as a need?
What you do with the result is need or greed, not the choice that you make. What you do with the result. What you do with the result determines need or greed. You can acquire it, hoard it, and not share it. Or you need not hoard it and share it with everybody. So need or greed is not about looking at the opportunity. Shifting and all doesn't determine need or greed. Are you able to follow? The need or greed is determined by what? What you do. When you do all this, you get a result. What you do with that result? You can say it's all product of my effort and keep it as a right. Or you can give it up or you can share it with others. So what determines is the sharing part, not the
Position.
not to the shifting like this. Are you able to follow? You have to shift. As a grihastha, you have to do that. But one thing that you should not do is what? Don't claim it as yours and think that it is yours so that you have a right to hoard. Don't think that you have a right to hoard. That is greed. You understand? Give. You change, you earn that much because you can give that much. Okay, you earn more so that you can give that much more. Give. Life is to give. Ram Tirtha. Beauty of life. Life is alive, flourishing, joyful when you give. Life is to give, not to take. But sir, it should be mutual, no? Isn't it? But life should be mutual, no, sir? When I give, somebody also should reciprocate, no? Isn't it? That is greed. Reciprocation, wanting reciprocation is greed. What is it that you have to do? Simply give. Wanting reciprocation means it's greed. You understand the difference? Yeah. One more clarification we'll take up and we conclude.
So you said that on the one hand, the mind is pulling, and on the other hand, Shastra is pulling. Then we hit a middle path somewhere. Is it that it happens on its own, or I make a conscious choice by study, reflection, and inner conversations and all? Does it happen like that? How does it exactly happen, the middle path?
The middle path, does it happen by itself or do I make an effort? Middle path happens by effort. The middle path happens by effort. And what is the effort? The effort is to follow the schedule. Study and reflection is one.
Which is Shastra pulling that.
Which is the Shastra pulling you. The other side is your lifestyle. What is the lifestyle? Two things has to be done. One is your lifestyle, another is the study and reflection. Are you able to follow? Study and reflection is what you hear from the classes, the analysis of the classes, all that is
Pulling other end.
one pedal. That is one pedal. You can't ride a cycle with one pedal. You need the other pedal. What is the other pedal? Lifestyle. So what is that lifestyle? A lifestyle of lifestyle guided by the Shastra. What nowadays these words and all have become like a superstitious word. People believe these words are superstitious, but a life of achara and anushtana. A life of achara and anushtana. Achara means knowing the code. Anushtana means practicing certain things. You follow? That's how it is both. Not just the study of the Shastras, etc. Following a disciplined lifestyle. Of the two, what is more difficult?
Practice.
Following the lifestyle is more difficult. Following the lifestyle is more difficult because my mind, I don't feel like doing it today. My mind is not cooperating today. Oh my God, if my mind is not cooperating today, I will make the mind to cooperate. In that bargain, if you die, die. Because anyway, you are going to die. What difference does it make? Isn't it? At least for sadhana purpose, die once, no, he says. At least for, see, anyway, you die so many times of acquisition, enjoyment, hopelessness, depression, suffering, sorrow, you die many a times. At least die once, doing tapas. And that death through tapas is liberation. Are you able to follow? Do it.
So middle path is a conscious choice by following the calendar
Yes.
and living that life.
Living that lifestyle.
Okay.
That's where in our culture we have a lifestyle. There is a calendar that is given. A calendar of when you should fast. A calendar of when you should sleep. A calendar of when you should not sleep. Even the calendar goes to the extent of even telling you when the male-female union should happen. Even that should not happen out of lust. There's a calendar for that also. How can you do that? Because human beings feel like eating when you are hungry, sleeping when you are eating when you are hungry, sleeping when you feel sleepy, and whenever you get lustful, night. What is middle path? Breaking this is middle path. Are you able to follow? Breaking it is middle path. You eat. It's not saying you don't eat. It's not saying don't sleep. It's not saying don't have union. It's not saying that. It is saying the impulsiveness with which you do whenever you feel like is the problem. Eating and sleeping and the natural attraction to man and woman is not the problem. Whenever the impulse comes, you becoming a victim to the impulse is the problem. Are you able to follow? So what is discipline here? It's not about not eating. Narayanji, are you able to follow? It's not about not eating. It's not about not sleeping, not falling a victim to this, not getting impulsive to this. So if I say, okay, when I'm feeling hungry, no. What is the lunch time? 1 o'clock. But it's only 12:15. 45 minutes. Wait. Wait. What will happen? Body will shiver, isn't it? Headache will come. Body will shiver. You feel like you will feel like you are going to die the next moment. Experience that kind of death also once. Yeah, experience that kind of death also once. That is moha mudgaraha. That is moha mudgaraha. Experience that kind of death once. And moment you have experienced that kind of death once, oh my God, you will never ever want to get into this inferior way of living after that. Because you know the freedom. You know the freedom. You know the independence. You know the self-sufficiency in it. You know the self-sufficiency in it, you become free. Are you able to follow? This is verse number 3. We will move on to verse number 4 next class. With this, we conclude for today.